ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of J Talk. Jay, what is this? This is 5?
It's numero 5.
Yeah,
or
awesome.
Cinco.
Well, for something that we did spur of the moment, it's lasted a lot longer than I was expecting, honestly, and I'm really glad to be able to say that. I am your host, Joshua Michael Harper. I'm right at Fizzy, joined by my esteemed co-host, J1 Hero. Jay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, all. Welcome back to another week. Thank you for coming out, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
It should be a fun one.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I'm very much looking forward to tonight's discussion involving Courtland Ellis. Some of you might know him from his work on Stabb Gunner. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Courtland?
Hello. This is Courtland Ellis, artist on Stabb Gunner.
Awesome. Yeah, no. So we're gonna talk about some cool stuff tonight. We got a lot of cool stuff planned. First, before we get into that, I just want to talk about a couple things. First things, Jay, tickets for Batman vs Superman went on sale this week. How excited are you?
I had my money in the hand of my friend that works at the movie theater before the movie was even announced. So my ticket was pre-ordered, pre-purchased, and all of that fancy stuff. You know, I had to get it day one.
Yeah, awesome, man. So you pre-ordered it then?
Basically, yeah. I gave the money to somebody else, but they pre-ordered it. I told them pre-order it or else.
Awesome, yeah. No, I need to pre-order my tickets. I don't know if I want to go to a midnight premiere or not, though. But I do want to, but I don't know if I want to deal with the crowds. But I'll just said that.
The crowd's got to deal with me.
Oh, man. Yeah, I thought about going on the night before. We have a theater here that shows it starting from 6 o'clock the night before it comes out. But I don't know. I really don't like dealing with the crowds.
Yeah.
When I go to the movies, so I might just wait a week and then go to see it on a weekday when less people are there.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the benefits from the one that we're going to is that it's called Celebration Cinema, and they allow you to reserve your seat. So there's no waiting in line. I was like, okay, I could probably deal with that.
Yeah, we got that now.
Yeah, man. So I was like, you know what, I might be able to deal with that. As long as I don't. So we'll see. I can always go see it again, hopefully, thankfully.
Yeah, the theater I go to, it has the showings at 8, I believe. But I have an IMAX theater near me, and I think it's showing it, so I kind of want to go see it in IMAX. But I also don't want to fight the IMAX crowds, so we'll see how that goes. Second thing I wanted to talk about, R.J. Palmer, or as some of you might know him, Arvalis. I believe is how you pronounce it. I don't know. I followed him for a while. I know everyone here has seen his work. I know everyone listening to this podcast in the artist community has seen his work, whether you know it or not. He does the hyper-realistic Pokemon. He's a really good artist, really cool dude. His computer broke, and he's having a huge sale in his shop right now. A bunch of stuff's on sale. And I was going to just say, signal boost it, get it out there. I'll put a link in the description. You guys can check it out if you want. But I followed him for a long time. I thought it'd be a cool thing to signal boost it for him. So, Jay, you said you wanted to give some shout-outs?
Oh, well, to one of our good artist friends that'll be coming on in the coming weeks of the podcast. His name is Simon. Him and his brother Pedro. They're called the Blaze Brothers from Blaze Manga. They released their first trailer for their motion comic of the webcomic Iridescent, which I've watched them build from the ground up till now. So I thank you guys for that, and I really enjoy it. I watch it just about once a day. So it's really dope, and it's really cool to see that. And it's very appreciative.
Yeah, no, I've been I know that when I met y'all a year ago, they had been putting a lot of effort into it, and they were finally getting somewhere with it, and they were really happy with it. So it's really good, and they've still been working on it for a year. So I'm really excited for them to have that out. They've been putting a lot of hard work and effort into it. So.
Yeah, so just look it up on Facebook, Iridescent, and you'll see it. It's gonna have the lead character with his goggles on and his cool hair. But if it wasn't for Simon, I wouldn't have met Josh, and I wouldn't have been able to do this podcast without him. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And two, the Urbans pilot is finally out for everyone to see, even though for the people that didn't back the project. So go check that out too, because I gotta see it. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. It looks really cool. Everybody was going crazy about it when it first came out and was talked about.
Yeah, Jay. So all right, for our fans, and I might be one of them that doesn't know what Urbance is. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what that is?
Yeah, I bet you would like for me to do that. Thanks for the spotlight. Oh goodness. As far as I can tell, Urbance is like a urban hip hop street music and musically infused story of like dance battle and inner culture in the city. Different people from different walks of life and different backgrounds coming together, and I guess using music and fashion as their way to express themselves, and that's pretty much what Urbance is about. But it was more about the visual flashiness, if you will, of the project that pulled everybody in with the different use of colors and a different use of style, and of course one of the grand spectacles being in diverse cast with African American leads as well.
Awesome. Well, you've sold me on it, Jay. I'll be sure to check it out as soon as this podcast is over.
From what I saw on the trailer, it seems to be a story about boys versus girls. Like they're like in a city where sex is outlawed, so like they take like drugs to like have sexual experiences. It's really crazy, but it looks super interesting.
Yeah, it sounds bananas. All right, so let's go ahead and start diving into today's discussion. We're going to be talking about video games today, believe it or not. Specifically,
we're talking about how a certain person named Joshua said, if I could have anybody on the podcast, it would be the creator of Stabb Gunner.
I don't know what you're talking about. I may have said that at one point. I thought that he'd be a really cool guest to have on the show. So I'm honored to have you, Courtland.
Well, to be honest, I'm not the creator of Stabb Gunner. I'm the art creator of Stabb Gunner in a sense. My partner Joseph Krasinski, he's actually the one who came up with Stabb Gunner. I think he had Stabb Gunner for a few years before I came around. I was an intern for him back when I was in college, and he had an animation studio called The Victory, and one day he just showed me like this concept of like a character that he called the Stabb Gunner, and it was actually it was something that he drew when he was in college. So he asked me if I wanted to do a comic with him, and I said yeah, and the rest is history. But I am the one who came up with the visuals for the most part. The Stabb Gunner, we co-created. Yeah. But I can't take full credit for creating the Stabb Gunner.
No worries. Honestly, to be honest, I guess I fail as a person looking deeper into it because I never knew that this entire time. I knew you were the artist. I knew you were an artist, but I never knew that.
Actually, I do know that. Yeah, you work with your author, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the author also he's also the colorist, isn't he?
Yep. He's also the colorist, letterer. The first issue that we did way back, I think we finished it in 2011. He was actually the anchor of that one.
Really?
It wasn't until the second issue that I started inking, or that I took over inking, as well as pencils. But then, with the Patreon, we rebooted it, so we're starting back at issue 1, which I finally just wrapped on my end.
Awesome. No, that's really cool to hear. Yeah, love hearing stuff getting done. No, so that's cool. Yeah. So that's a little bit about what you do, Courtland. You have a partner. What's his name? I know on Twitter he's like Stab Fisticuffs, right?
Oh no, that's actually me. But
that's you? Yeah. There's 2 of you on Twitter. He
actually runs the Gunner account. I forget. I think the Gunner account is called Running Gunner, but he's just not on a lot, so
Yeah.
you just see me on there on Stab Fisticuff's account.
Yeah.
His name is Joseph Krasinski.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an art director. He's I suppose you could say he's primarily a designer.
Mhm.
But his background, he has a background in animation. Again,
nice.
he owns a company called The Victory, animation studio called The Victory, where we do like animated shorts and so on.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, so Courtland, why don't you, before we get into this, why don't you introduce yourself a little more, give us some background details. You know, you said you work on Stabb Gunner. Basically, so to give people some premise for our next discussion, what is the story of Stabb Gunner, if you don't mind me asking?
Let me look up what I wrote. Hold on. Stabb Gunner is generally the story of two assassins that come together. It's a story about revenge, but it mainly follows. It's mainly about Stabb Fisticuffs. He's out to get revenge against the mayor and crime lord of his hometown, Scene City, for murdering his family. And like during the adventure, he gets mixed up, or he gets hunted by assassins, and one of them is Gunner, who, for reasons that I won't reveal right now, ends up joining him on his quest for revenge against Well-Dressed Man.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, it's a cool story. I'm excited to see it, and you can back this on Patreon if you want to see this story happen. I love the idea of it, so be sure to check it out. So Jay's gone. Oh no, Jay's left us. Putting him on blast there for a second. Let me close out of that. So if you were to say, like, let's define Stabb Gunner in a couple words. Like, I like to ask this question to creators. Like, if you were to break it down, say one series meets another. This is the test I've been given multiple times by different people I've met, and it's always helped me get better at the story. So I like to ask it to people that come in. If you were to say Stabb Gunner is one series meets another, would you have any two that come to mind immediately that you could say?
Okay. Let's see. I want to say, and this is far off. This is just probably the closest thing. One thing that we've always talked about is Scott Pilgrim. We've actually, I think I've only seen the movie. I'm not sure if Joe has ever read the book, but we both love the movie, and we love the video game influences in the movie. So we always compare it kind of to Scott Pilgrim meets Cowboy Bebop in a sense. Not in the sense that they're in space or anything like that, but
yeah, no, like I get you, that kind of that bounty hunter style story mixed with the cartoony video game style of Scott Pilgrim. Awesome, yeah. No, I'm really glad to hear about that. So then, all right, so video games are a big influence on Stabb Gunner then.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What is your favorite video game, if you don't mind me asking, and how has that influenced Stabb Gunner?
My favorite video game, well, is kind of unrelated to Stabb Gunner, but my favorite video game currently is probably Marvel vs. Capcom, the Marvel vs. Capcom series. I'm a big fighting game buff. It hasn't necessarily influenced Stabb Gunner, but with that said, I'd say my favorite, the most influential game on my end for Stabb Gunner, at least where the art comes from, is Streets of Rage 2
Yeah.
for like the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I'm going back there, man.
One of the best theme songs intro ever.
Oh yeah, that whole soundtrack is
It
just
was.
so good. Like that's just quality, and I can't find another game like another old game like that just has a soundtrack that's that good.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man.
Okay. So.
You were asking.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you were asking how it influenced Stabb Gunner. I mean, story wise, Stabb Gunner is very much inspired by like the silliness of like '90s arcade style beat 'em ups, like Streets of Rage and Final Fight and Double Dragon. Also like little other arcade titles like the Ninja Turtles in Time arcade game and like X-Men, those beat 'em ups.
I remember those. The arcade side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
Yeah. So like the storyline like follows those like type of tropes. Like there's just a random bad guy. He lives in the city. He's like in the tallest building. He's wearing a suit, and he's like super mysterious. And he's just that, which is why we actually just named our character Well Dressed Man. Because he's just every well-dressed man character inside a fighting game. But other than that, I think art, as far as the art goes, like or the way that things happen in the game, we kind of treat it as a RPG. Joe actually draws like a lot of information. A lot of inspiration from like Final Fantasy. He used to play a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics. Hold up. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, so going on as it goes on, like it becomes more and more RPG-esque. Like there are a lot of RPG elements that we introduce into the story, like including like a character in the next issue that we're introducing named Lil Stevie, who's basically like an app for your phone, but what he does is if you've ever played Final Fantasy and like used the ability scan, he basically does that to their enemies. So he pushes out a UI that shows like everybody's stats and like shows the damage that they're doing to each other, and then like weaknesses and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, we're not there yet. It's in the next issue.
No, that sounds really cool. I like that idea a lot. Have you seen the movie Kung Fury on YouTube? It's a short film, I should say.
Yes, absolutely.
Is Stabb Gunner kind of like that? Like, is it over the top ridiculous? Like, just walk into a room and there's 10,000 bad guys and you gotta fight your way out.
Yes, absolutely. It actually is.
I was gonna say, yeah, it is.
Kung Fury. I remember when Kung Fury first came out on Kickstarter. Like that was one of our points of inspiration. It just felt like a Stabb Gunner type or esque, property.
Mm-hmm.
And Stabb Gunner is not quite as silly as Kung Fury.
Yeah, Kung Fury is pretty ridiculous.
But I mean, Stabb Gunner is pretty ridiculous as well. But I don't know, the characters in Stabb Gunner take what they're doing a little bit more seriously than Kung Fury.
Fair enough. Jay, so have video games influenced Infinite the Journey's creation or another creation of yours?
Well, I've started to notice that there are RPG elements to Infinite the Journey, because you've got like the main character, and then you have, well, in Volume 2 per se, it's like the main character, but then there are his party, if you will. The same thing with like the story of Astra, that's like an RPG setting. But a lot of them I've noticed are like RPG setting games or third person, because out of all my favorite games of all time, like one of them recently was Halo 3, but I don't have any sci-fi shooter. But what I really enjoyed about that story, or about that game, like all the other games, is the protagonist being the hero, the hero's journey. I would say the hero's journey and how they portray them in video games is what inspired and transferred over. My favorite video game of all time is Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario 64, Super Mario 64. Like,
Nice.
those are my favorite games of all time that I sat up and played the most of. So I would say if it's a single player game or one of RPG backgrounds with like story and deep story and world building and stuff, those are the ones that really took influence to a lot of my stories.
Okay. So you'd like liken it to one of the Tales of stories, or I guess a Final Fantasy story.
Tales of Vesperia, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Manga Carta 2, Mass Effect, Chrono Trigger, like a lot of those things, yes.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. And your favorite video game is Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario 64, you said?
Yeah, those two are like neck and neck, yeah. Super Mario 64. When it came out, and I'm like, I have an open world Mario game, are you kidding me? Like, leave me alone,
to jump
Dad.
into paintings.
You go to school and do my work for me, Dad. Leave me be. I got stars to collect, man.
I had my only exposure to Super Mario 64 until I got an N64, but I didn't get an N64 until the mid-2000s, and I used to go to this McDonald's with my friends sometimes, like when we were kids, and they had Super Mario 64 there, so I've got some good memories playing that game.
Oh, man.
For me,
Go
ahead. No, go ahead, Courtland. No, don't mean
yeah, it just makes me wish I grew up with Nintendo. I was a Sega Genesis kid, and then after that it was just PlayStation for a long time.
Nice.
So I never
Yep.
I never got in on the Nintendo games. Like I played like Mario Brothers and like Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Land. Like I had a Game Boy, and I had a cousin that had a Super Nintendo, so I played a lot of that, but I never got to play Super Mario 64.
I'll be honest, I think that so far in terms of like original games that are cheap and well priced, the 3DS and the Wii U are really good.
Yeah.
Like you get some really good games for the price. I'll be honest. If you're thinking which one do I want to jump on the Wii U. Like it is a lot of fun. You get a lot of games. You can get a lot of.
Wii U is fun, man.
Yeah, we set up like game nights at my job. Every month we set up a game night. We play like Wii U Smash Brothers. We actually just had one last week, last Thursday, I think. It was fun. I wish I had a Wii U, but I do have a Wii, but I don't play it that much anymore.
Yeah, there's some great games for both those systems. You can get Super Mario 64 on Virtual Console, I think, for what it's worth, if you ever feel like going back and playing it.
Yeah, it actually did. I'm not sure. I actually might have bought it and then never played it. It might have just been like a random, like I bought it and then forgot that I bought it, and then just never got to play it. And then I got an Xbox One and never unhooked my Wii.
Just spit in Jay's face, why don't you?
I would play it. I would like to play it. I should go check. I should check and see if it's still on there.
It's a good game. I can attest. It's a good game. I own it. It's a good game.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Mario was made for 3D.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
a lot more
like
than
Super Mario
Sonic was.
Sunshine. Oh my goodness.
I think Super Mario Sunshine was one of the best Mario games, honestly.
I always wanted to play that one. I remember I used to go to Target and like play the demos and on their machines. We were like, I wish I had this at home, but I don't.
Yeah, we go in there like, I wish I had this. You spend 30 minutes there playing the game. There's some kid behind you. Like, get out of here, kid. I'm playing this for now. They don't do the demos anymore, though. A lot of
Yeah, I
kids
know.
don't get that.
Yeah, most of them, like, yeah, and it's very rare that they have demos at like Target or Walmart, and then when they do, it's like the crappy demos. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so Jay, I want to ask you really quick. So I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to Courtland, and I look up and I see this poster, Legend of Zelda. Why is Legend of Zelda not your hero's journey story?
You know what? As shamefully as it is to admit it, I've never played it.
No,
Oh,
you've never played Legend of Zelda?
Nope.
Oh, Jay.
You know
Well,
why? You know why? To be honest, when it came out on Nintendo 64 and it was the craze, I was such a wrestling nerd. I had all the WWE, the WCW. I had and then also guilty. Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark took over my life. When I found out I could play by myself with 16 computer players, I was playing multiplayer before there was online gaming. So nothing else existed to me. Nothing else. It was that, and then it was wrestling. It was pew pew pew, ha ha ha. I'm gonna become #1. Then it was leg drop. Do you smell what the Rock is? Stone Cold Stunner. That was me. Sorry, like I missed that phase. Now the person that I am now, I would actually go back and play it and appreciate it. Not put it in and go, just because it's gold, just because it's a gold cartridge doesn't mean it's awesome and throw it out the window.
See, when I got my Wii, one of the first things I did was borrow Joe's copy of Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah.
I played it. It was a long training session at the beginning. It started out slow, so I stopped playing it. But then I downloaded what was it, Ocarina of Time on my Wii, and it was way more fun playing the old one. The old one was so much better.
For what it's worth, I think a lot of people are in agreement that Skyward Sword was one of the weaker entries into the series. It's not a bad one once you kind of get into the meat of it, but yeah, it's still a weaker entry into the series.
But I mean, I know all about like the series. Like I love the lore of Legend of Zelda, and it makes me wish that I played it when I was a kid, because like the lore would be so much more of a payoff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new one just to find out what the story is.
Wait. So Courtland, you've not played Legend of Zelda either? You just Ocarina of Time?
No, I didn't even finish Ocarina of Time, and that was last year. No, I never had a Nintendo.
You guys are cheating yourselves.
I didn't have a Wii until like 2 years ago, and then I only bought it for Smash Brothers.
You bought your Wii 2 years ago? Like 2 years after the Wii lifespan had ended?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it was cheap.
I gotta talk to you after this, Courtland. I gotta have a discussion with you. Take it back. Both of you. Legend of Zelda is easily, like, I would say a lot of my stories are inspired by a lot of the Legend of Zelda lore, and I love the feel and like I love all the stories and the designs and the creatures, and it kills me. I was looking forward to this. I was so excited.
Yeah, well.
Instead, I got two chumps who haven't played Legend of Zelda.
Hey.
Well, I'm a distant fan of Legend of Zelda. From the outside looking in, I think Legend of Zelda is awesome. I just never played it.
Never played it.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so, like, honestly, like, easily, like, one of the best game series of all times. Like, top 5. No, for me, like, as I was saying, Legend of Zelda, my favorite video game, without a doubt. It's hard. I say Legend of Zelda. It's hard to say which Legend of Zelda. I really liked Wind Waker, which was this cartoony one. It was kind of cartoony.
I watched a friend play that one on the Wii U.
It's a really good game. Like, it was a blast. It took you to a lot of different places. You did a lot of different things. There's the problem with the Triforce. There's a part of the game where you have to locate little pieces of Triforce, and that's a bit tedious at times. But for the most part, it was like a really fun game, and I think that's probably one of my favorites. Or Majora's Mask also. I'm sure everyone's heard of Majora's Mask. Anyone who's played the game.
I think, to be honest, Majora's Mask is my favorite just off of like the theories that I've heard online about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember when Wind Waker first came out. I loved that art style. I was like all about it.
That's what sold me on watching him play it, and then like every now and then I would pick it up and play it, but I really felt like I was cheating myself because I did not partake in the true lore. That's kind of like if I hadn't played Final Fantasy VII, and then I'm like, oh, I can't wait for Final Fantasy 15 to come out. Oh, I can't wait, baby. Like, I'd be cheating myself because I'm like a poser, like a bandwagon rider at that point.
Well, it's different with the Final Fantasy series because none of them are really connected except for one or two or three. Yeah, they're all completely separate stories.
Listen, guys, I'll be honest with you. You guys haven't played Legend of Zelda all the way through. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII all the way through.
That's okay. I haven't played that all the way through either. The only Final Fantasy I've ever played all the way through was Final Fantasy VIII. And that took me a good year or two because I don't know what it is about me and Final Fantasy, but it's always hard for me to get into a Final Fantasy game, and then it's always easy for me to get out of it, but eventually I might come back and get back in. So I finally beat that. I played through 9 until I got up to like what's basically heaven, and started fighting angels, and then I stopped. Something got me out of it. And then I played part 10 until I think I got to the final act of that also, and then stopped. I don't know. Something about Final Fantasy games that, like, I love it. Like, I love the stories, but I don't know. They wear you down.
Yeah, man. That's just like the Grand Theft Auto storyline. Like, somebody's like, I beat that. It's like, well, props to you. I should pay you for beating
it. Oh, man. Yeah, the last GTA I beat was like 4.
Yep. I tried to beat Vice City without a memory card. I failed.
Oh yeah, no, there was no way. I beat that, but yeah.
All right, so getting back on topic as creators. So wrapping up this little section right here. Courtland, favorite video game?
Favorite video game? Marvel vs. Capcom.
Marvel vs. Capcom. Jay, favorite video game?
Super Mario 64.
Boom. My favorite video game? Legend of Zelda.
Wait, can I change my answer?
No, it's too late. It's forever. Permanent.
I change it. I'll say Kingdom Hearts. Part 1 specifically.
That's a great game.
That intro sold me alone.
Especially for being like 2001, 2002.
Utada Hikaru. I stole that game from my nephew.
Oh, yeah. That girl, her songs are like great.
Yep.
On that series.
No, I love it. So, all right, so Courtland, then we kind of just went over this a little bit, but just as a quick refresher, like how have video games influenced your creating of comics? And I guess like you do Stabb Gunner. I guess how have video games influenced Stabb Gunner?
I mean, I take a lot of influences from video games. I try to incorporate like video game visual styles. I mean, like, you know, I think about like when you punch a person in like a arcade brawler, like you see like the effects come off of them, and you see like the flash on the screen and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, so like basically art direction, like you take a lot of inspiration from like fighting game art and I guess brawler art, beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, Jay, where do you get a lot of your inspiration for Infinite from?
As far as video game wise, I would say it'd have to be from, if it's Japanese based, it would have to be from like the Tales or like the Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Base. Yeah, I would definitely say Tales of Final Fantasy. That's where a lot of that came from, because I was appreciative of the lore, the world building. Like that's what really made me appreciate that they really went into depth with such a game. And the poetry behind the game, the fact that they named it Final Fantasy because they thought that was going to be their last game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're and now we're on 15. Like, come on, like, talk about a hero's journey. They were already in the belly of the beast. They were giving up. They were done. And then they came back around full circle, and they've been going around that same cycle ever since.
Yeah. So that influences you a lot.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
But I do have a question. I do have a question for Courtland, real quick. So is Mute your property?
Yes, that's mine.
That's yours. Okay.
Completely mine. Yep. Yeah, Mute's going slow because of. I mean, I do a lot of commissions on the side, and I have a full-time job, and I have Stabb Gunner, so Mute's like a slow process, but it's building up.
Okay.
Yeah, Mute's about like a auditory handicapped superhero, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
No, that's pretty cool. I love handicapped superheroes. One day I want to write like a handicapped superhero story. That's one of the reasons I got so upset that they got rid of Oracle in the comics. I don't know how you feel about Oracle.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so cool to get that, like see that like person that's handicapped. I know a lot of people don't get that, and that's something I always wanted to do. So I think it's cool when people do it. I have respect for that.
Yeah, Oracle was a big part of the Bat family. She was kind of cool in her own right. Like, she didn't have to be out there on the field.
Right.
No, it was cool. You got when you got the Convergence series, actually, you got a glimpse back at that with Oracle and Nightwing, and that was a cool little 2-shot series to read, just to experience that again. But no, so Jay, getting back on topic, video games, they influence like your writing style, the direction you want to take the story. Like, does it from just writing to tone to like how do video games influence your creation?
Video games influence my creation. Knowing that it's another escape, to another world, to have gravitated toward gaming because it literally has had the power to pull me from my real life issues or just the times when I really wanted to escape without leaving the house, to know that I could immerse myself into a game and completely become that person. Like, as for instance, I mentioned it in the previous podcast, The Witcher 3. Like, when I played that game, I literally I marked myself offline. I did not want to be interrupted. I made sure my phone was on silent. I had my headphones on, so I heard the trees, the bees. I heard everything, and I really just became immersed into the game and into the story. And again, that had massive lore and a massive world. So that's really what draws the inspiration for me, because I'm really big on epic. That's the reason why I wanted to write comics versus just writing novels, was because I wanted to write grand spectacles or just epic moments that really could move a person, or just go, wow, that really happened, or I never thought that, to see somebody do something like that, or just to be like, I've seen it before, but it was awesome. Like in chapter 3 of Infinite with the Latian, the guardian from the Seven Seas, riding in on the head of a dragon. Like coming out of the water, riding in on the dragon. Like, that whole double wide spread page was epic. And that's really what I enjoy about video games, and being able to transfer that over into story besides the writing aspect.
Just making these epic moments come from nothing.
And mean something, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and no, for me, when I go for video games with writing, it's an awkward thing to disconnect from me, actually. I don't I don't know if there's like a video game I would say influences, like, because we've talked about this before, Jay. Like with my story Dizzy, I don't know that many video games to be able to say what my video game is like, and I didn't really have one until you talked. I think it was like a half a year ago or so. You were like, yo, this reminds me of Dizzy, and you sent me the Overwatch preview video.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad it's like Overwatch meets Big Hero 6.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot like that. That was like a big goal of mine, was like making this cool story, trying to keep it original. And so you told me like, hey, this is that. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Like I'm glad I got to do that. And that actually really helped. I like to say that really helped me kind of define more of the greasier bits of Dizzy being able to say, okay, so Overwatch is the story Jay thinks my story is. This is I saw it. When I watched the trailer, I saw it. I saw Dizzy in Overwatch, that comedic effect, while still having this action.
The perfect way that I was able to see it after all of that was done, and even to this day, is a superhero MMO.
Yeah.
Because it's a massive world, and it's about superheroes in it, you know, conducting superhero business, from superheroes to anti-heroes to the villains. And I was just like, it's a superhero MMO set with these guys going out and doing this into this massive world that's created and connected.
Yeah, no, and that helped influence me creating, so I was able to be like, all right, let's not keep it to. It was really like, it was like removing your inhibitors, you know, like I'm going gear 2, I'm opening up the gate to Karama, I'm going crazy now. It was able to really help me kind of capture a big chunk of what I wanted Dizzy to be, who's to say I want it to be at times, you know, at the times when I don't want it to be dark, I want it to be this happy, carefree, like, oh, don't mind us, just trying to save the world here, and you know, in a gigantic gorilla fighting the Grim Reaper kind of ridiculous level story.
Wow, the kid is sitting there like, look, I told you they were real. I told you they were real. They're super awesome, weren't they? Like, it was just like, the minute I saw that, I was like, I got you, Josh.
You got me. No, and it really helped me define bits and pieces of it, like I said. I was able to be like, this is what I want the story to be like. Now, having said that, I'm assuming, considering it's in a closed beta, the three of us haven't played Overwatch. But I still think it's a cool game, and I love that trailer they put out. If you haven't seen that, it's like a Pixar movie.
It was literally like, this was Big Hero 6 on hyper drugs, on Urbance drugs.
No, it's really good. I'll recommend it to you. Like, if you're one of those people that goes to see movies like Big Hero 6, you will like this. Like, and it's not bad. It's got a story behind it, and it's like a short film almost for a video game. It's really cool, and it really helped me define a lot about Dizzy. So that's a cool thing. That's like the video game I relate to Dizzy the most, is Overwatch. So I say, all right, if Dizzy was a video game, in terms of story, it'd feel a lot like Overwatch. Just based on that trailer alone, it's made me want to play Overwatch a lot, honestly. But like, based on story alone and stuff, that's what I want Dizzy to accomplish and feel like, is Overwatch. What would you guys say you want your story to feel like and accomplish this feeling of, in terms of, like, if you were to make a video game out of it? Like, what? I guess a better question would be, what if your comic or your creation was a video game? What would it be? I'll start with you, Jay.
If it were to be a you know what? It would be the RPG-esque thing, but when it went into battles, it would be like the Naruto Storm games.
Yeah.
It would be an RPG-like thing, but when you ran into the enemies, you had to fight or whatever, it would somehow transfer over into that epic fighting stage where you had full control of them and you got to do these flashy, fantastic, epic moves. So you get the journey, but then you get the action. I kind of feel like that'd be the perfect blend. I wouldn't say something like an open world MMO, but I would say that's how I would, if I had that my choice, that's what I would have it made as, if there was possible.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's a cool answer. I like that. I love the Naruto games. I think they're not like great fighting games in terms of quality of fighting games, they're not bad, but they're not exactly fantastic. But the ultimates and the awakenings and the team jutsus are just so
like
so well done.
That part mixed with Soul Calibur.
Yeah, it's a really
or
cool.
like Dead or Alive or something like that. Like those games. Give me the Because I want some skill in it. I don't want some kid that's 8 years old button mashing and beating my brains out. Like
playing the Itachi. I remember the old one used to be like you had an Itachi that could dance around you forever and just throw kunai and slowly whittle away your health bar.
Yep.
Don't want that. So Courtland, if Stabb Gunner was a video game, like what do you think it would be?
I think it would be a tactical RPG.
Yeah.
We actually, ironically, we do have video games for Stabb Gunner, but those are like pinball video games, and there's based on the story in the game.
So you're telling us if Stabb Gunner was a video game, it'd be a pinball video game?
No, I'm telling you that Stabb Gunner has a pinball video game.
Okay.
If Stabb Gunner, in my mind, I think if Stabb Gunner was a video game, it would be a brawler. It would be an arcade style brawler, like think Castle Crashers with like RPG elements to it. So like you level up, you get new abilities and stuff like that. I like to think about like Beautiful Joe.
Yeah.
Beautiful Joe is like such a great game. Castle Crashers is a really good example because it really blends like RPG elements into it. But I think it would have like a high tactical. So I guess Stabb Gunner would kind of be two games. It would be one would be a brawler, and then the other one would be like a tactical RPG, like Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that, or Battleheart actually. Joe loves Battleheart, it's an old iOS game, but
have you played Fire Emblem at all?
No, but I have heard that it's very similar to, or somewhat similar to Grandia 2. I have played Grandia 2, and from what I hear, Fire Emblem has the same mechanics where it's like a timeline for your turns. It's not turns. It's not turn-based, right? It's like time. No. It's like a timeline.
It is turn-based.
Oh, it is. Oh.
Yeah. Have you played like Advanced Wars or?
I've seen it played. I never played it myself.
Fire Emblem is basically like Advanced Wars with medieval units, and it's obviously not exactly the same, but it changes a couple of things. But it's very similar to that grid-based, like you have like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Grid-based battle system.
Gotcha.
I feel like Stabb Gunner would be a cool game to play like that. Like you get a couple heroes, and then you're up against like this army of characters. If you're going to go the tactical direction, I think that'd be cool to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's totally. Joe would love that.
No, we'll have to have Joe on and talk to him about the same stuff.
Oh, like Transistor.
Oh yeah. Transistor's a good one too.
Transistor.
That game looked amazing. I remember seeing the concept art for it on DeviantArt years before the PS4 even came out. So when I heard it was coming out on the PS4, my mind almost exploded. I'm like, what? Like.
So Transistor's a really good game, and I own it. I've played it, beaten it. I like it. Do you know you can play on your iPhone? I think maybe it's not your iPhone, but you can play on like your Apple TV. If you have an Apple TV, you can buy those controllers now, and you can play it on your TV. It's that simple. I was blown away. Like that's a cool game, and that's a crazy complex game, and you can just play it on your TV now.
Winning.
That's awesome.
Sorry, nerd out a moment. No, so yeah, no. Dizzy has a story. As a story, like I wanted to accomplish that Overwatch feeling. As a game, I don't know. I'd have to probably go straight up like fighting game. Like it's not a. I don't like the fighting being a big aspect of it. I try to keep that out of it. But I think it's cool, like, you have those segmented cutscenes and stuff, like, all this dialogue happens at once, and then you have this crazy all-out fight scene. And that's what I like.
Would it be like the Persona 4 game, the fighting game, Persona 4 Arena?
Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. A lot like that.
Yeah. I just got that game.
But, no, like, I've been thinking about it, actually, a lot the past few days. We've been talking about this podcast that's upcoming, thinking about a couple ideas on it. And I was thinking about that new Naruto game, and it just got me like, that's like exactly what I want Dizzy to be, you know? A fighting game with these artful finishes and these ultimates. That's a really cool thing.
That's what I love about that game. Like I have the art book for Ninja Storm 3, and just being able to look through that and know that they were able to make it look like the anime. But then when those cutscenes come in for the finishing moves, I felt like I was playing the anime, especially with the storyline alone. The storyline, how they do the storyline, they did the story mode, that was like genius for anybody who's action buff. Yes. The cinematic, the music, the drama, like all of it, I felt like I'm like, oh, Mangekyo Sharingan. Like I felt like I was Sasuke or fighting whoever I was fighting when I had to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it does a really good job of blending like story with a fighting game. Like it's not something you usually expect to see. And I would argue that in terms of video games, the storyline of the Naruto fighting games is a lot more of like an experience similar to like a Telltale game with some fighting sequences in there.
That's one game that is just fun to watch. Like I don't even have to play that game. I just love watching it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, but if it wasn't a fighting game, I'd really like Dizzy to be like a Telltale game, honestly. Like that's why I mentioned it. I don't know if any of y'all have played have you all played the Telltale games?
I played the Walking Dead one.
Yeah, that's the one I played. Season 2 Walking Dead, and I played through Season 1.
I really enjoy those games. Like, I don't play all of them, mind you, because I think you can only take so much of them. But I really like The Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead. I thought were really good. Like The Wolf Among Us was really well done. Like as someone who reads fables and enjoys fables. I loved it. If Fables is a comic written by Bill Willingham, and it's really good. And my girlfriend, who doesn't really like comics and she doesn't like video games, she looked at she played Wolf Among Us with me. It was like, whoa, this is like really good. And so I really like that style of game and whatnot. But so.
What about Mute? What kind of game would Mute be?
Oh gosh.
I know you haven't told us much about it. You just but I'm gonna ask that question.
It would probably be a survival game.
Ooh.
I'm not sure. I've never actually thought about that. Yeah, it'd probably be a action survival game. So I don't know. I don't know what I could compare that to necessarily. There's what's that game? Staying Alive? Is that
Alone in the Dark?
Is it Alone in the Dark?
You got Alone in the Dark. You got The Last of Us. You got Tomb Raider.
Well, The Last of Us is a big inspiration for Mute. I bought the art book for The Last of Us specifically for that game.
So you're telling me that can he hear?
Who, Mute? Yeah, he can hear.
Okay, I was gonna say now if he can't hear and you got zombies in that story, you messed up. That's a tough twist.
That's a story that ends 3 pages in. Like dead now.
Yeah, he can hear. He just doesn't talk.
Okay.
Talk. Okay. I think earlier I said audio. No, it's not audio. Speaking. That's deaf. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He just can't talk.
Okay.
And there are reasons for the way that he is, but I'll leave that for the story.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So you say so this is a question I want to ask you, Courtland. You say Stabb Gunner is very video game influenced, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think it'd be cooler to see Stabb Gunner as a video game or an anime?
Absolutely. I would like to see it as both, but if I had to pick, I think it's more tailor made for a video game. See, ironically, this is a weird question for me because I'm an animator, and but at the same time, Stabb Gunner was originally concepted as a video game, not a comic. It turned into a comic because we couldn't at the time when we came up with the ideas, we couldn't make it into a video game. We didn't have the resources for that. So
what? You don't have the resources to casually make a video game?
Yeah. So yeah, ironically that's what it originally was. It was a video game concept that we ended up making into a comic since we couldn't make it into a video game.
So the big secret gets revealed. Stabb Gunner was never meant to be a comic. Always meant to be a video game.
Yep.
Yep. That explains like all the video game influence, though. That makes so much more sense now.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Wait.
No,
go on. I was just gonna change the subject to Jay. So if you want to finish that thought, go ahead.
No, go on.
Okay. Jay, if you were to turn Infinite into a video game or an anime, what would you do? There. I got $1 million for you, Jay, but you can only make one.
Oh, it's going to be an anime. To be honest, my whole reason for creating is to follow my ludicrous, be Hokage, be the king of pirates dream, or be the best, to train the best of all the Pokemon, dream of actually watching one of my stories become something live. I mean, video game is second, but when it comes to that, it's either film or anime. That would be, or animation, like, those are the whole reasons, the true inspirations behind my reason to want to create anyway, because I'm a huge movie buff, anime, TV, television show buff. Like, I eat, sleep, and breathe those things, so that would be my dream come true. I'd die, go to heaven, come back, and dancing if I were able to do an animated version of any story.
Fair enough. All right, so really quick. Who would you want to play KO if you were to make Infinite a movie? I know you thought, if you say you're a movie buff, I guarantee you thought about this at one point or another. Who would play KO?
Since there isn't that many African American people acting, hint, hint, that gods of Egypt, thank you for bombing.
Just grab and throw under the bus.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. Fair enough. What about Zathor? Who would you have play Zathor? A bear?
Zathor, ooh, what's his name? I don't know his name, but I'd highly doubt Infinite would be one that would be successful as a film. It'd have to be animated. It'd have to be like one of those big epic animated films, and I'd have people play voices. Like, if I had it my way, the guy from Michael Clark Duncan would be Zathor's voice. The guy from the Green Mile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him. He would be, absolutely.
You know who'd be a good Zathor? James Earl Jones.
He would be, man. Oh my God, the voice of Mufasa. Say it again.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. No, because like I said, Zathor. His inspiration came from Optimus Prime, and others, because I'm a big fan of Optimus. So.
So Courtland, who would you have play? Like, if you have the option, who do you think would be a good person to voice Stabb Gunner?
Jeez.
Or to voice in Stabb Gunner?
Jeez. That's like, I don't know. I have no idea.
If it were mute, I would say the Jaden Smith of the Karate Kid. He would be.
That's a good voice actor for you.
No, I'm talking about just to play him physically. He could do it physically.
I thought you were making a really big joke about not being able to talk.
He can't talk. Oh man, that would be so great. Dang. I've never thought about this at all. Like, I don't know.
What about Monk Tony?
Monk Tony. Ooh, that's. Hold on. I'll have this one in a few minutes. Monk Tony is an easier person to pick somebody for. Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Antonio Banderas. Somebody super random. Like he's like a character.
Chris Evans, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
No, you name the two most popular Marvel heroes right now?
Actually,
Guy Pearce, the guy from Lockout.
From which movie?
From Lockout, the guy that played Iron Man 3, the guy that was Tony's adversary.
Oh yeah.
He could voice him.
Yeah, he could.
That's a tough one though when it comes to voices. I hear you there.
Yeah. No, I think if for me, Dizzy, if I had to choose between an anime or a video game, that'd be tough. It'd be really tough. Like I couldn't choose because I think it's really fun to be able to play and experience it in a visceral way. That's different than just watching it. You get to be the character. Be the character you want to see the world. And so that's a really cool idea. But on the other hand, on the flip side, you got the ability to watch it and experience it, and that's a completely different experience. It's tough to choose. If you made me choose, I think I would choose anime. Partially because it's a safer choice, but partially because I think you get to do those really cool flourishes, and you get to do all these cool design. You get to do way more with design than you have to. Because with video games, you have to be like, okay, I have to squeeze this into the context of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, I wouldn't want to do like it's really tough to choose. But I'd probably go anime because it's just easier than squeezing it all into like a linear tube of gameplay. I think it'd be more fun to do all these visual flourishes and all these dynamic shots and angles and have characters acting it out frequently. So, and voice actors, that's also a tough one. I don't know. For Miranda, the main character, I've not done much thinking about it actually. I was just curious. It's a tough one. I don't know. I had one, and I forgot about her, and so I guess she wasn't probably that important of an actor. I like Emma Stone as an actress. I think that'd be really cool to, like, if I were to pick a character.
Chloe Grace Moretz. I already thought about that one from Miranda.
Oh yeah, you already figured it out for me. Thank you.
Yep, she played Hit Girl. I was like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get I couldn't do her because I just see what was it? If I Stay. I would not get that out of my head, and I cannot. That's like. If I do not like If I Stay, I went and saw it in the theaters with my girlfriend, and that was absolutely god awful. I don't know. I really like voicing. I like what was it, Grey Delisle or Grey Delisle or whatever. She voices no, not Grey. Tara Strong. I like Tara Strong. That's what I was thinking of. She voices Harley Quinn in like Batman the Animated Series. She voices Bubbles. She voices a character in My Little Pony, and she voices Raven. Okay. I think that'd be a cool character to have. Kind of cartoony voice. If I were to do a cartoony thing, it would be very relative, and I would want Dizzy to be cartoony. I think she'd be cool, but apparently Jay's already figured out the whole staffing for me, so I'll just send him the pamphlet when I get the money.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so I think that's enough video game discussion for the night. If you guys were to recommend a video game, and in closing, if you were to recommend a video game, what would you recommend to people to play?
Let Jay start.
Recommend a video game to play?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah, go play a video game right now. We're talking about video games, so go play one.
Well, I can't say Naruto because I've said that or no.
Yo, I'm gonna say it first, Destiny. I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately.
Yeah, boo. Go buy a Dreamcast and play Power Stone 1 and 2.
Oh yes, one especially.
Nah, that's what you do. You go find one of those and buy it.
Yeah, go buy a Dreamcast and play a game and have it crash on you a couple times and then give up. What about you, Courtland? What would you recommend to people?
As far as like games that had like a really big effect on me, like emotionally, the game that had the biggest effect on me, probably Kingdom Hearts. This 1 and 2. Probably two other games would be like Devil May Cry 3, Beautiful Joe, Part 1.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Good
I
recommendation.
cheated. I said 3 games, but there was just no getting around it.
No, I get you. There's a lot of good games out there. A lot of good games. Well, my name is Joshua Harper, your host of J Talk. I write Dizzy as well. You can check that out online on Tapastic. This is my esteemed co-host, Jay. Jay. Hello, Jay. Has he abandoned the He's just given up on the podcast. He's just done.
No. I'll be right back. Hold on. My sister's calling. My sister has an emergency. Hold on.
I guess we're extending the podcast then, Courtland. How are you tonight?
I'm alright. Getting tired. Is it earlier over there? You're like in.
Yeah, I'm Central Time. For those who aren't privy to the conversations, thank you for doing this an hour later, Courtland. It's much easier for me.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. Yeah, it's like 10:20 over here.
Yeah, no, I like to go to bed early. I'm there with you, so I'm sorry to make you do this. Yeah, Jay gets mad at me.
I'm a late sleeper. I was up till like 5 o'clock last night, so that's the only reason I'm tired right now.
Oh, geez,
I was like playing games all night.
Yeah. Well, I'll help you get to bed. I'll close the podcast down. I'm Josh, host of J Talk. I also write Dizzy. This is my esteemed co-host, Jay. Jay, you know what to say this time, right?
Yo. Go buy the Dreamcast and play Power Stone 1.
Jay is
Find
also
a video game that influences your creativity and remember that greatness lives within and always create what's for you.
There you go. Good way to close it. Jay, do you write a comic?
I think I do. I write Infinite the Journey. You can find it on Tapastic or Tapastic or Tapatastic. Go to tapastic.com, type in Infinite the Journey, or you can follow the link as Joshua will graciously put below.
Will do. In Courtland, why don't you go ahead and close yourself out?
I'm Courtland, artist on Stabb Gunner. You can support us at Patreon. Patreon.com/Stabb Gunner. It's just $1 per post. We'll be starting on issue 2 very soon. So look forward to that. I also work on Mute. That's around.
All of that cool stuff. If you go over to Patreon, check them out, see if it's something that you like, and pledge. Support indie creators. It's not that hard, guys. You want new original stuff besides that Marvel DC stuff. Some of it's good, Josh. I know. Some of it's good. Not all of it, but not all of it. And everybody's tired of seeing the same old thing. I know if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But sometimes you can switch up the circuits and get something new in your life.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's true. We had Cameron Knight on last week. You can support him with his new upcoming comic run. You got Courtland Ellis right here, and next week we got 2 very cool creators I'm really excited to share with y'all. But more details about that will be revealed closer. But support indie. If we want you to learn anything from this podcast, it's 2 things. Always create what you want to create, and support indie creators. That's what I want you all to walk away with. Always support indie and do what you want. Anything else you want to add to that, Jay?
Go buy a Dreamcast and get
Shut
Power
up
Soul
about
on.
the All right, that's it. We'll see you next week on J Talk, folks.